Okay, let's go. It's not letting me do it. All right, I'm coming up doing something a little bit different today. I'm asking God to give me direction. That's not what I'm doing different. I always ask the Most High to give me direction. But I try to do things a little bit different as I go through just to see what's up. Right now, I forgot to choose a virtual background. So I'm going to do it. This is how we do the magic. Whatever the magic is that we do. Yeah. Let's see. Today, I thought I would give you a little bit of this flavor right here. Boom. Thought I would hit y'all up with some of this. Let's see how that goes. All right. Welcome to the antidote. What is the antidote for? It is the remedy for stinking thinking. I kind of like this new music. So what we're doing now is we are in the process of gaining wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Now I'm gonna just tell you, this study is wearing me out. What do you mean? I'm talking about because I'm finished. I'm finished what I was doing. I wasn't doing anymore. I put the books down, but somehow these proverbs keep talking to me, and they're not saying very nice things to me. It told me, "Don't be so lazy." I was like, okay, I need to put more effort in. Thank God, I've been feeling stronger. I've been taking this thing called Adopted Zen. I didn't take it one day. Yesterday, I was so tired. So I took it today, back to my normal self. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these proverbs. Short, wise sayings. Short sentences, but wise sayings. All right. What I discovered is this, that one of the key elements that I'm seeing in Proverbs is how you always, the writer of the Proverbs, who wanted us to be wise, their worldview is very interesting. The worldview of the writers of the Proverbs, they believe that there is a God, and that that God, if you diligently serve that God, if you have interaction, a dynamic energy with that God, it will benefit you. So they always believe that there is a supreme being, unseen, untouched, but yet very real. An intellect, a consciousness that kind of put order to everything that we see around us. So, and actually, that same intellect, according to the worldview of the people who write Proverbs, is intelligent, is orderly. It created everything that we see. So, and I've been teaching, if you've been listening to me, that we know that God is not a gender. He's neither male nor female. We use he, but we really don't have the right language for the great I am that is. How do you describe a spirit? We say things like the Most High God. That's one of my favorite ones. The I am that I am. That's what he said he called him. That's his personal name, he said. All right, so, and then, you know, when I grew up, I was calling this deity Allah, the God, Allah. And then as I got a little older, started smoking a little ganja, and then I started calling him Jah. Then I started reading scripture. And in the process of time, I began to understand that he is also called Jesus. Yes. Yahweh saves and delivers. So these are names that people put. There are many names. And I went through all these seasons of these names. But I realized it was always the same God. I'll give you one description. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's an easy one. Because that includes Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and that's the order that they came in. So that's why I took my time to think it through and say it correctly. So that's the worldview that God is, and that there are certain people in the world. There are at least two types of people in the world. They use a lot of parallelism. I don't want to compete. They use a lot of parallelism in pictures to help you understand what Proverbs is. So I don't know. I'm taking the time to slow my roll, give you some information, and go from there so that you can have some tools to work with when we start studying. I went through my Bibles and I found out I have 3 Bibles that I use. Because that's where these ancient, this is called the wisdom literature, and I'm taking these wisdom literature out of these ancient texts, these 1,000-year-old texts, and we generally call it the Bible. But the Bible ain't nothing if you ain't making it modern for your own self. So I'm choosing to see what it can do. When I was 19, I started reading these things, and now I'm 59. I'm still alive. I'm healthy as can be. So I think that my application of these have been pretty good. However, I told you that this book is beating my behind. Why? Because I'm hearing things like, I think we talked about it maybe 2 or 3 days ago, that the wise person must plow their land, And so I'm like, well, I'm not a farmer. What land are you talking about? Then I started realizing the guy was talking about, you got to plow the land around you, the landscape. Plow the landscape. See what you can do with your skills and talents. See what you were created to do that you can give to this environment. See what you were created to do that you can give back, that you can give something beneficial to the planet, right? So I'm like, oh, I like teaching. I love teaching ancient scripture. So this is just one of the things I'm going to do. Nobody pays me to do it, not yet anyway. Maybe if you feel like you want to send some brothers love, all right, we can figure out how to do all that. And I'm going to have to get there at some point, because I'd rather do this than go run into the office and punch the clock. Oh man, I hadn't punched the clock in so many years. It's been like strange for me being a watch clocker. So I could go, when I go to work, I have to watch the clock. What time I get in, punch it. What time I get out, punch it. Man, that's a form of slavery I don't really like. But it is what it is. If I want to get some income, I need to do that. Because I'm going to work for somebody until I work for myself. Oh my God, there's a revelation. You're going to work for somebody until you work for yourself. I would prefer to work for myself. I'm a good boss, all right? Well, we're going to get there real soon, but what I'm saying is that I got to all that to say, these proverbs are kicking my butt. I'm walking away from it, but they not walking away from me. They bringing new revelation and insight, so it just continues to unfold and burst upon me. So if you have that experience, good. The 2 parallels going on, that's what's happening. So one of the big 2 parallels has to do with this very first verse that we're going to hit in episode 14 in Proverbs chapter 14. I didn't even put it up yet for you, but this is how I set up for this study. So I go to Bible Gateway. I go to Bible Gateway, and I've been doing this recently, and I'm pretty liking it. I go to Bible Gateway because there's one particular type of scripture I want to use, and that one is this New English translation. It's actually, you may not know it, it's a real scholarly piece of work there. Having gone to seminary and studied how to study ancient literature, I find that this thing called the New English translation is really, really good, based on some good scholarship. So I started using it because it helps me out with some things where I was using a whole lot of different tools. But if I just use this tool, especially for a study like what we're doing now, this is a casual study. This is a casual study. I'm not I don't want to really get in deep because I have a deep dive Bible study. I teach people how to go deep dive in ancient literature, right? I'm not going to change that. So I teach them how to do that, and I teach them how to do that through all different kinds of study tools. And so we go in deep on that. That's usually on Tuesdays. I do it live on Facebook and on Zoom. I don't do it live on YouTube Zoom yet. I haven't really mastered that yet, but I'll figure it out. But in the meantime, what we're doing is, oh, that's right. In the meantime, what we're doing is we're using this one. It's a quick reference tool. So let me show you why I love it so much. All right, here it is. So now I need to go to, okay, I got the book list. Got to get the book list. Go to which one I want to go to. The book list I'm trying to go to is Proverbs. Then I go to the chapter I want to go to, which is here, which is 14. I don't know yet if people are really hanging out with me right now, and I don't know. Also, I think I told you guys this, but this is my first time doing something like this. This is a big idea that came to me through just walking and meditation, and I said I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go through the book of Proverbs. So I'm on this journey with you. If you rolling with me, we're on a journey of discovery together. And we're not gonna push it too hard, but if I whet your appetite a little bit, well, to study more about ancient literature and ancient wisdom, then I did my part, I guess. So it starts off with these parallels that every wise woman has built her household, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. All right, so I was like, that's deep. And here's one of the reasons why I like this thing, because I can click on this letter here, A, and I can see what's inside of it and see if it's anything that's useful for me. So we know that every wise woman has built. It has to do with a verb, right? And so let's see, it's a verb. Let's see what else they can tell us about it. Wisdom sets up her house with strength without amending the consonants. Wisdom set up her house with strength. That's what it's basically saying. So it's describing that wisdom is building her house. Wisdom has built her house, or she built her house with wives. Wisdom. So it's talking about wisdom being a builder. So and then after that, it talks about the personification of folly. You might have to go through some of the other tapes. I already defined what personification is. The best thing I could do real quick is like, it's like when you call your car your baby, your girl, whatever name you give for your car, and you make it like it's a real person, but it's not. It's personification. So folly is personified as another woman. Folly in the second half of the verse implies the personification of wisdom at the beginning. Let's see if we can learn any more about that from here. Well, that didn't yield very much fruit. We know it's a woman, we know it's a wise woman, and she is a constructor. She's building something. She's in the process of doing something. She's building her house. So it says that, this one says, the verse contrasts Lady Wisdom and Lady Folly by painting the picture of what wisdom has done, and by implication still benefits from, in contrast to what folly keeps doing to her own detriment. All right, that's so that kind of thing you can yield out of this. And these people are scholars, so they really look deep into the word. So they're saying that it's a contrast, and the contrast of two different people: the woman of folly, which is but the foolish woman, and every wise woman. This version says every wise woman. That's good. Let me read from another version. This is my women's study Bible. My goodness, brothers and sisters, I am so thankful that I have a women's study Bible, because I can't think like a woman and I need help. So by the grace of God, I know one of the persons who did one of the books in here. I think with Ecclesiastes actually, and she did the whole book, did notes and all that kind of stuff, and did the scholarship for it. And she was a great scholar. All right. So this is what it says right here regarding the wise woman. And now I'm gonna have to pull out my where is it? Pull out my magnifying glass because sometimes it's hard to read. No, maybe I can read this. This one says, a wise woman builds the facts. A wise woman builds. That's period. A wise woman builds. A foolish woman tears down. So the fact that this woman is called wise indicates that she fears and reverence the Lord. So remember, that's why I started with what is the worldview of the ancient, the sages, the wise ones. They already know it's a God. They don't nobody. They're not trying to. They're not even asking the question, is there a God or not? That's for the agnostics. Is there a God or not? That's for the atheists. There ain't no God. All right, or atheists, no God, without God. Anyway, but for the wise ones, they know that we are in a matrix in which there is a higher intelligence that guides everything, that creates everything, and allows us to be part of its manifestation to the world. I said it. Think about that, what I said. It didn't come back to me on that. But here's what it says. The fact that this wisdom is called wise indicates that she fears and reverences the Lord. And that fear be not be a scare of, but to reverence the Lord. She fears and reverences the Lord. She conscientiously builds her house, making her entire household thrive, because she has learned that wisdom brings the happiness and prosperity she desires for her family. Wisdom. So a person who gains this understanding, who gains this key to life, that you have to apply wisdom to your life, and you have to get knowledge that you may not have just by osmosis. Got to get it from wise people who pass it down to wise people. Sometimes they put it in the book so that maybe another wise person can come and read the book, and then maybe they might teach a little bit about that, like what I'm doing now. Look, it says this. She conscientiously builds her house, making her entire household thrive, because she has learned that wisdom brings the happiness and prosperity she desires for her family. The wise woman cares for her home, causing it to flourish and become a heaven to those who live there. She builds her home by making wise choices in her relationship with her husband and her children. She works on her marriage, knowing that intimacy does not happen naturally, but must be developed. All building takes time, picturing brick set upon brick until a sturdy, safe home is constructed. In contrast, the foolish woman does not build; she tears down both her possessions and her relationships. She destroys her own efforts with her hands, her tongue, her idleness, and her lack of interest. Only a woman can say that clearly about what women should be doing. That's not a man talking. That's a woman clearly talking about that. If you did not get it, go back and hear it again. Play me over a couple of times and hear what I was saying. But that's in this Women's Study Bible. I'm introducing another one. And I'm reading, and this is what it says. This is how it reads in the New King James Version. A wise woman builds her house, but a foolish pulls it down with her hands. What a wonderful thing. All right, let's go to verse 2. Wow, that was a lot for verse 1, huh? It's going to go really quickly. I just had to make sure I set it up for you guys and get it. This next one is, the one who walks in his uprightness fears the Lord, but the one who is perverted in his ways despises him. Now, here's another contrast. Remember I told you the ancients love to use dualism or a contrast. So who's contrasted this time? It's the one who fears the Lord, and as a result of fearing the Lord, his walk is upright because he's living in light of the principles and precepts that the I am that is has set in order for people since time immemorial, and now we have the opportunity to read it and study about it. So now the one whose walk is upright fears the Lord, and this is capital L capital O-R-D. That means fears Yahweh, the I am that is, right? Fears the great I am that is. That means have reverence. Remember, we talked about that just a minute ago. Have reverence for the I am that is. But the one who is twisted, that's perverted, right? Let me see. Twisted in its way. Let's see what it says here. Crooked of ways. That's Hebrew. A devious in conduct. This construct of So he's talking about crooked in reference to his ways. The term ways is an idiom for moral conduct. So it says, the one who walks in uprightness fears the Lord, but the one who's perverted in his ways, what are ways? Ways, in this case, it's an idiom for moral conduct. If you're twisted in your morality, your moral conduct, the evidence that people fear the Lord is uprightness. If you are upright, if you realize that there is a great I am, and there is somebody that if we do wrong, who will allow his universe to bring the right recompense for the wrong that you do, consequences. That's what they call them. That's another way of saying it. Will allow the consequences of your stinking thinking to take over, and then it's going to cause ruin and calamity, right? So the ways is an idiom for moral conduct. So the evidence that people fear or have reverence for the Lord is their uprightness. They live in light of God. Uprightness actually meaning I'm living in light of that there is a righteous being who actually likes righteous stuff and likes truth and light and peace and joy and solidarity and unity. I actually walk with an entity, the same entity that created this unity called the universe. That unity is also inside of me, and because I'm trying to live in light of that unifying principle, that I am that is, my ways are upright. They're not twisted or distorted. I value the morality that comes from this kind of a relationship with a great I am that is, who is not. That's one of the things I like about this concept of God, this deific concept of God is that it's holy. Holy. What does holy mean? Holy in one word means set aside for a purpose. But this God is set aside for love. This God is set aside for truth. This God is set aside for life. This God is set aside for peace. It's like God is set aside for joy. That's the kind of things that this God is all about, doing that kind of stuff, because He's holy. He set aside His power and His strength for those things that give benefit to the universe and to people and humanity all over, and not only just the humanity, but to creation. If we were apply, just the other day we were looking at the scriptures, and it said that, what did it say? It said something like, what did it say? It said, a righteous person takes care of their pets, their animals. And I was like, a guy who's concerned about the poor by allowing all the fields that he told his people that where people were governed by a theocracy, by God's principles in their community. That he said, you have a field, but don't what do they call it? Harvest all the field. Just leave the edges so that those people who don't have fields and don't have income, they can come by and get some food. That kind of God. And the kind of entity that says, be kind to the animals because they're really a part of you. I created them from the same stuff that I created you, from the dust of the earth. That's symbolic talk, where we are one, right? So don't get it twisted. This I am that we have reverence for, this higher deity, this power, it loves uprightness. And the evidence of those who despise him is devious ways, twisted and distorted, perverted. And this version says perverted ways. Those people hate God. So now we can roll a little bit more. Now this next section is talking about um, your mouth. Cause I don't like this music. I'm gonna try to change this. This music is not working for me. If y'all like it, let me know. Maybe I can work with it. But it seems like it's fighting against me. And I'm trying to do this work, and I don't need to be fighting against any music. Right? Thank you. Wow. I feel relieved already. We got to be careful about what we allow to get into our spaces. I put on there high energy, but I should just put royalty. I went the wrong way, fellas. And I do make mistakes, but we're supposed to learn from our mistakes, aren't we? Yeah, we got to learn from our mistakes. If we don't, we'll suffer the lot of fools. Nope, you can't. I gotta find something that's good for us. I don't want high energy. That's what's going on. I just want royalty-free music. Now, why do I want royalty-free music? Royalty-free music. I want royalty-free music, and this is for those people who are out there. They're gonna do their they're gonna start doing their videos, and they're gonna start doing their blogs, and they're gonna have to have some music, right? And so what happens is, if you use music that is already owned by somebody, people like Facebook and YouTube, they can block your stuff. They can turn it down. They could actually not allow it to be seen or heard, right? But yeah, but so you want to get royalty-free music. This might be a little bit better. I think I could work with this a little bit better. I do like music, because if not, I get lost in time. I need to know that time is moving forward, or I got to go to sleep. So anyway, now we're back on track. Now we were talking about these two contrasting things. One who walks uprightly, right? And so then we're talking about this whole thing about the speech. What you say out of your mouth is very, very important. It just dawned on me today why the ancients and the sages have so much discussion in their literature about the mouth. And it's because the mouth, we create worlds with our mouth. That's one thing. And then the mouth actually is a reflection of the heart. I started thinking about what the master teacher taught me not too long ago, is that it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but it's what comes out of his mouth. And so the mouth reveals the heart of the individual. I'm like, if the heart is here, the heart is in our spirit, in our intellect. But the idea is that from out of our heart, how the young people do it, something like this. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how to do it. But out of our heart comes the issues of life. So we can tell what kind of nature you are by the words you use that come out of your mouth. It's gonna reveal your motives. It's gonna reveal your ways. It's gonna reveal what you do and how you do it. So yeah, I can work with this a little bit better. So for what we need to do is now look at the scripture and see what it's talking about here. And then I think once we understand these, we can start rolling really good by these through these things right here. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So we got here. In the speech of the fool, we're going forward. In the speech of the fool, is a rod for his back, but the words for the wise protect them. All right? Where there is no... Okay, so I have to stop here, because I do need to just talk about this and get this right. Here it's talking about the speech. Speech, of course, is going to be about the mouth, right? All right, here we go. And then this rod. What does this rod for his back mean? What does this rod for his back mean? In the mouth of a fool is a rod shot of pride. Ooh. In the mouth of a fool is a rod shot with pride. A prideful mouth, a boasting mouth, somebody's always, trying to tell you how one up you and all that kind of stuff. A prideful spirit, a boasting spirit, try to, make themselves bigger than they actually are, or bigger than you at least, so that you can feel bad. A prideful spirit, a boastful spirit is a problem. And what happens is in the life, the way the universe is set up, what the fool will be, what a fool says will bring them discipline. Somebody might just beat their behind physically, or because of what they're saying, they'll be marginalized and kept out of the things, out of good things. In fact, the wisdom literature say if you hear somebody saying that the only thing they come out of their mouth is violence and ignorance and perversion, and then you need to move around and don't hang out with them, because after a while, all the stuff that they're conjuring up with their words will come on them. It's got to come back. What you put out is going to come back. I didn't realize that. It says, God said his word will go out and accomplish what it's sent out to do, right? But that means that word goes and accomplishes what it's sent out to do. God does that, and we were created in his image and likeness. We have the opportunity to do that. It's going to be as you say it's going to be. I had to tell this young man that he was talking all this stuff about, he was, first of all, he was bragging like, I never passed it. I never failed the test. I said, okay, that's your confession. So you're going to go take this test about, real estate, and you said you never failed the test. Good. So how are you going to be? Then everything was about maybe. But what if I was like, man, it's going to be as you say it's going to be. What is it going to be? Are you going to pass this test? Or are you going to fail this test? What you going to do? He said, I'm going to get a B. I said, I agree with you. That's exactly what's going to happen. Go get that B. Go get it. Because it's going to be as you say it's going to be.
It's 12 o'clock.
If you say it's going to be a failure, it's going to be a failure. If you say it's going to be a success, it's going to be a success. Especially if you put words to your actions. No. Especially if you put actions to your words. I got that backwards, right? If you put actions behind your words, then you will be the success. We're going to read a little bit later on, because it says that, if you can't get anything done with just blah, 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 talk. I'm a going to spirit. I'm going to spirit. It's going to come upon you. Otherwise called procrastination, right? Now, in the speech of the fool, okay, we got that. Correction. Good. Where there are oxen, the feeding trough is clean, but an abundance of harvest is produced by strong oxen. I could not figure out for the life of me really what this meant. This one says a little bit about strong oxen. Strong oxen are indispensable for a good harvest, and for oxen to be strong, they must be well fed, and the farmer has to balance grain consumption with what the farmer has to balance grain consumption with the work oxen do. Now, if you have, now, this is where it took me a little while to get this. Where there are no oxen, you don't have any oxen, the feeding trough is clean. There ain't no boo-boo to pick up. That's a nice way of saying it. Because if you have oxen, they're going to produce manure. And the manure is going to be, you might as well use it for your plants and stuff like that, because it's going to come. So, but if you want to have an abundant harvest, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. You might have to stick your hand in some boo-boo. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm just using it. I don't mean that. I'm just using this idea that if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to allow some things to happen. You might have to get your hands dirty. You might have to have a place where some boo-boo might be around, because you got so much that you have to. Yeah. It said where no oxen are, the trough is clean, but the increase comes. Okay, that's one that's just like the. I'm trying to see if I can find one that says it a little bit differently. Where no oxen are, the manger is clean, but much increase comes by the strength of the oxen. Yeah. So if you're going to be successful, you might have to get some things that's gonna make your thing work. for that time you had to, if you had a farmland, you need some oxen to make the harvest come in, right? So, but now we have to, we have to, what could be the equivalent to an oxen? A good computer might be. You don't want to spend no money, but you might have to put some money down for that MacBook Pro, because that's the tool you use to produce, right? So you want to, like the oxen was the tool that was used to produce the harvest. We need tools to produce, and it's not going to be clean. You might have to hope, Father, please don't let them have to get a loan. But whatever they have to do, maybe they can get a small business loan or something like that. Whatever they have to do, help us to get the tools and things that we need. Help us to find our oxen, and help us not to be all worried about the boo-boo it's going to cause in our life. Because it's going to happen. And the bigger we are, it said, how did Biggie say it? More money, more problems. More money. I think that was Biggie, right? More money, more problems, right? The more money we have, the more problems we get, something like that. Whatever that is, but he's saying the truth. You out there doing that, you got to pay for security. You got to pay. If such thing as pay, you got to do some stuff, right? You got to kind of get your hands dirty in the industry so that you might be able to become a success. You might have to start from the bottom, and then one day say, "Now we're here." I'm having fun with y'all today. Thank you. Hallelujah. Let's go. So now you got that whole idea about the oxen thing. That was a weird one for me because I really didn't get it. This one says, there is no milk without some manure. Some disturbance is the price of growth and accomplishment. That's how that one. That was from my New American Standard Bible. I have a New American Standard Bible, and that's what it said. Yeah, the rest of it is just like everything else. All right, let's go. So we got that for, let's go to, what's this next section going to be here? This Bible helps me to get the next section. All right, this next section has to do with liars and truth tellers. Liars and truth tellers. A faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies, right? So you want to be a witness of faithfulness, a witness of faithfulness, a reliable witness, a faithful testimony. They don't lie. They tell the truth. All right. But here it says, but a false witness breathes out lies. A false witness breathes out lies. What's a false witness? What does it say? Let me pick that up. A witness of falsehood. A false witness, of course, brings out lies, breathes them out. The saying addresses the problem of legal testimony. A faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness does lie naturally. That's right. So don't be a liar. Don't be a false witness. I bear witness to the truth. That should be your motto. I bear witness to the truth. All right. This next section has to do with, so there are people who are scoffers and mockers, and there are people who are encouragers and blessers, right? They like to place blessings on it, right? So this next section is a little bit about that. It starts at verse 6. The scoffer, let's see how it goes. 6, they want to read 6 to 8. The scoffer sought wisdom. There was none. The scoffer sought wisdom. There was none. Need to move the time to be moving. The scorner sought wisdom, but there was none. But understanding was easy for the discerning person. All right, walk abreast with a foolish person, and you do not understand wise counsel. The wisdom of the shrewd person is to discern his way, but the folly of the fool is deception. You see how they put in this wise, discerning, not so wise wisdom. So it's trying to say something about this. Let's see if we can find anything about what these words are saying. What the scorner. The scorner is intellectually arrogant. He lacks any serious interest in knowledge or religion. He pursues wisdom in a superficial way so that he can appear wise. The acquisition of wisdom is conditioned by one's attitude toward it. The acquisition of wisdom is conditioned by one's attitude toward it. Now, that is a gem right there. That's why I said sometimes I like to use this one, because you get gems out of here. A scorner, I would have went the other way, but I realize now that this scorner is not somebody just mocking somebody. It is intellectually arrogant. Have you ever run across an intellectually arrogant person? An intellectually arrogant person you will know within 3 to 5 minutes that they have got a doctor's degree or a master's degree. Intellectually arrogant. They just want to, and they try to use, sometimes they don't use larger words to expand your vocabulary and their vocabulary. They use it just to baffle those who don't have the vocabulary. So like me, a lot of times if you come on I'm going to look up the word for a lot of times, because I want you to get the knowledge about what words, because words what build worlds, and it helps us to have a clearer understanding. So now this time I realize that intellectually, now my wife doesn't like this about me. I tried, by the grace of God, by the power of the Holy Spirit, I will not be intellectually arrogant. But now sometimes there's a thin line between intellectually arrogant and just wanting to be intellectually arrogant, and a thin line between being intellectually arrogant and what? And just speaking fact about what you know about, because you're a scholar in that particular area. There's nothing wrong with a balanced confidence if that's your skill area. Like I don't really say that I understand social media, but if I ask my son, that dude he knows it. He be whoop, 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 and I'd be like, dang, how you do that, son? And then they help. In fact, he's the one that helped pick out this background for me. He said, you need to have a light background, and you need to have, and I said, all right, son. Picked it off of the internet, turned it around for me, made it something nice, and I'm using it again. Because he's not arrogant with it. And so when I said my wife doesn't like it, she said, you hardly ever let people know that you have all this theological education. And I'd be like, yeah, I guess I'm not trying to, put it out there. I'd rather listen and learn from people than to vaunt my degrees and stuff like that. And I do have them. I'm just saying. Was that arrogant? I don't know. But intellectually arrogant, he lacks serious interest in knowledge or religion. So he might be a scholar in the books, in the libraries, in dusty books and histories and all whatever, but he lacks serious interest in obtaining knowledge that is beneficial for life, wisdom, understanding, or religion. Now, I'm with the young people. Religion is dead as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to be practicing religion, but I do understand. No, let me not say that. I don't want to sound arrogant. I think the best way I can say this is, what am I doing tonight? I'm just in this different kind of mode. I feel a different kind of anointing tonight for teaching. So religion is what I call a dojo. It is what is another thing they call it? A dojo in martial arts is a place where you go to study. So religions to me are like dojos in which you learn about the I am that is, the great creator. You go into these places and you learn about different things. Now I have found I've gone into many dojos, i.e. religions, and took a really good close look at it. And what was always my anchor, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God but God, and this Muhammad is a servant of that God. Boom. Pow. Some of the Muslims they laugh and they're enjoying this thing with me. But if you don't, I was speaking Arabic. I wasn't speaking tongues. It was probably an unknown tongue to you. but it was Arabic, and it just simply translates, there is no God but God. It's just no God but God, and that Muhammad is one of the servants of this God. So he who pursues wisdom in a superficial way, so that he can appear wise, that's a problem. The acquisition of wisdom is conditioned by one's attitude. If you got the right attitude, you're going to get some wisdom. That's what this whole thing is talking about. But the scorner doesn't have the right attitude, right? So they sought wisdom, but there was none. You couldn't even receive it. They didn't have the capacity to receive the wisdom. They might even heard words, but they couldn't receive it. But understanding was easy for the discerning. What is a discerning person? I don't know if it's going to talk about that. But a discerning person is a person who, a discerning person is a person who uses good judgment when they're looking at situations. They analyze it. They take time to kind of see what's really going on. That's what a discerning person is. Okay, so this next part is walk abreast with the foolish person. Walk abreast with the foolish person, and you do not understand wise counsel. Walk abreast with a foolish person, and you do not understand wise counsel. That's kind of, I don't really understand that to the fullest. But let's see what this says. The general meaning of the proverb is clear. To avoid association with a fool who is not a source of wisdom, but to avoid association with a fool who is not a source of wisdom. But the precise way that the proverb says it is unclear. That's for real. So this walk, wow. Wow. Okay, here's another way it translated. They said the most common use of the translation is walk across or abreast from a foolish person, and you do not come to know knowledge. You do not come to know knowledge or knowledgeable lips. All right, so the idea, you got the general idea. Everything is opposite of the foolish person. Everything is opposite of the foolish person. This is perhaps an idiomatic way of saying that from the fool's perspective, everything is opposed to him. My God. From the fool's perspective, everything is opposed to him. That sounds like black folk who are still in an entitlement mindset. If you have an entitlement mindset, you think the world owes you something, right? So, wow. What did I say? That's deep. Yeah, I'm just let it go. It's deep. The wisdom of the shrewd person is to discern his way. If you're going to be wise, and you're going to be shrewd, and it's the good kind of shrewd, the wisdom of the shrewd person, the prudent person, the person who uses good moral content and values and principles, they are able to discern. Those who are shrewd will use it to give careful consideration to all their ways. The scripture says, acknowledge the Lord in all your ways, he will direct your paths. But the wise people, because they already acknowledge God, they're also going to be informed by God, and you're going to have good ideas and concepts regarding whatever it is that's presented to them. But the folly of fools is deception. And it says, in this word, it's like a self-deception. The parallelism will favor this, but there is little support for it. The word usually means craft, practiced on others. If the line is saying the fool is deceitful, there is only there is only a loose. Let me don't erase that. I'm going to cut that out when I do the when I edit it. Fools mock. Fools make fun. Fools lack agreement between. Fools lack agreement between righteousness. Fools lack agreement between God. Let me read this in another version 9, because that one looks like it's a little hard for me to get. 8, 9, let me see what 14:9 says. Fools mock at making amends. Oh, that's right. That was a hard. Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright. That's way different than that translation. But I like this. Because fools, amends is when you go back and you make restitution. You go back to the people you have wronged and try to make those things right, right? So a fool don't think that's wise. They think you stupid for going back and trying to make amends. If they didn't know that you stole it from it, why are you going to try to take it now and say that they don't know you cleaning your soul. You're going back and correcting those wrongs because you're cleaning your soul, because you don't want that negative energy to be around you or stuck in your memory. Because what it does, if you have that negative energy stuck in your memory, then you're guilty. You feel guilty and shameful, right? But the fool don't think that's smart. Nah. Fools mock at making amends for their misdeeds, but goodwill is found among the upright. The upright people, they want to try to do good for you. They want to try to do good for you and with you. Man, that was hard. That was hard. I did not understand that in this version. Fools mock at reparation. Reparation. Fools mock at paying people back. If you were doing it, that's for modern day times. That's really a good thing. Fools mock reparation. They do. They hate. They don't want us to get paid. All of our parents unpaid labor during slavery. They don't like that, but they acting foolish because they don't know God is going to get His return on His investment. But among the upright, there's favor. The heart knows his own bitterness, and where is joy, no one else. The heart knows its own bitterness, and with its joy, no one else can share. All right, that's another one of those hard sayings. I think I found it somewhere that somebody did a better job at dealing with that right there. Remember that than I can do. Not yet. I haven't found it yet. I think I read that earlier today. 14. Let's try a different version of it. The heart knows its own bitterness, and a stranger does not share its joy. Okay? That's 10. 10 here. 10. The heart knows its own bitterness, and a stranger does not share its joy. Another one. See, another one. Somebody got to help me. I don't really get it. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. Now, when I was, I was hearing the interpretation. That's where it was. I'm not going to find it in these here. I was walking down the street listening to the scripture, and I heard an interpretation, something like this. It said that a heart may laugh and have joy and all that in front of you, but at the end of the day, they really could still be grieving. It's just a temporary relief for the grief that they're doing. So the heart knows its own bitterness, and with joy, no one else can share. They have the joy, but it's not the kind of joy other people can share because they're dealing with some issues, right? The household of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. That's easy. Y'all got that. There is a way that seems right to a person, but its end is the way that leads to death. Now, this one we do need to stop and take a look at. The proverb contrasts the roadway with the road's destination. The Proverbs contrast the roadway with the road's destination. The pathway immediately ahead is straight and smooth, easy to travel. So it would seem like a good path to follow, except that its destination is destruction. It, we might think it. Oh, this is the one. Oh, this is the idea that's going to take us to the top. This is the thing that's going to make it. We got these. We think we know it, and then especially if we don't ask God to help us, whether this thing to help us to discern whether it's this business venture or this idea that we're going to go, or this road that we're on, that we're committed all our time to, if it's going to be, thank you, Lord, hallelujah, for delivering me from this silliness right here. What is the silliness? It might seem right in your own eyes, but then after a while, when you see that this is not leading to anywhere, I'm not going anywhere with this. I've been walking with you 10 years, and 5 years, and we still haven't got it done. It ain't to be done. That's somebody else's work. One view of the proverb is that the straight road represents wickedness. One view of Proverbs is that the straight road represents wickedness that is disguised or rationalized. Oh my God. That, you know what? That's a good translation. Because if you're going down this road and you're thinking that it is a good thing, that the end of this is going to end up something good, even if it's an evil scheme or something like that, it might seem grimy, but at the end you think you're going to come out on top, right? It's a straight road represents wickedness that is disguised or rationalized. Oh, I'm doing this because I'm doing this because you rationalize it, or it's wickedness disguised. Another is that the sage recognizes the ambiguities of life. And there are ambiguities. There are things we just don't understand. We just don't get it. The ambiguities of life. Even when good judgment is used with regard to what a person can see, things may still turn out quite badly. All that to say this. Everything that shines is not gold. That's how some of the ancients would have said it. You might be going down these roads and thinking you're on the right road, and then you discover that you're not. Man, I just saw a vision of something that I'm going to have to do offline. But there are some people who are in this life, and they think that the decision that they made, or the label that they put on themselves, is the right thing for them, and that it has eternal weight and value, and that it's going to be with them forever, and that it actually defines them. No label can define you. No, you're not definable by a label. You're God's son. You're God's daughter. You're indescribable because you're like God. Is that too much for you? Wow. He said you're created in His image and likeness, so you're like God in some kind of way. At least that's what the scripture says, right? All right, so we did that. Let's go out of here. We did that. Verse 9, we already did that. We did 10. We're going down a little bit further. The house of the wicked, what does it say? 11, you know this. The household of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. Now, this made me think a little bit. This one says the household of the wicked will be destroyed. The house is their contents, the house, the families, family life, personal integrity ensures domestic stability and prosperity. Personal integrity ensures domestic stability and prosperity, while lack of integrity equals wickedness will lead to the opposite, right? So the household of the wicked is built on twisted, distorted thinking. It will be destroyed. It's on the path of house. But the tent, it's not even, it's a temporary dwelling, but the tent of the upright will flourish. They got a house, the wicked got a house, the righteous got a tent, but the tent dwellers are going to flourish because they realize that we're all travelers coming from eternity, going back to eternity. But in the process, we're here to learn some things along the way. What it is to be, and that's man, that goes deep. all the way back to Adam and Eve. I'm not going to fill with that right now, but I can see clearly what it is now. But the tent of the upright will flourish. There is a way that seems right to a person, but the end is the way that leads to death. This is that same idea that was up there, coming back to again back here in 12. Let's see if we got anybody who spoke about that. Did anybody take that up? Yes. Another version said that 14:12, there's a way that seems right to a person, but the end is the way that leads to death. This one says, a shortcut to success may be a false trail leading to destruction. I'm going to take the shortcut. I'm going to do this fast money thing. I'm going to do this quick flip, this quick turnover. Yeah, but no, that little shortcut might be the quickest way to your own ruin. Yep. I'm going to let that go. I'll let you think about that, because we both need to think about that. Because there is a way that seems right to a person, but the end of it leads to death and separation, sometimes family, sometimes divorce. Because death always is a symbol of separation. I don't care what anybody else says. I maintain that death. Look, but after it are the ways of death. The ways of death features the results of three paths. Here death means ruin. Here death means ruin, like I said. Possibly the proverb envisions that the initial path which seems good leads to other paths whose outcome are ruinous. Okay, that's fair. Because you can think you're on a good path and then you realize that it's not good. You think you're rolling with some righteous people, then you find out that they are not righteous. The depths of Hades, but the verse seems to be concerned with the events of this life. Good. Not necessarily hell. Great. Verse 13. Verse 13. Even in laughter, the heart may ache. Oh, this is that part. And the end of joy may be grief. Even in laughter, the heart may ache. Even in laughter, the heart might be, so your heart can be sad while you laughter. No joy is completely free of grief. That is true. There is a joy that is superficial, and there is underlying pain that will remain after the joy is gone. Wow. Wow, that's deep. Okay, that's that version. That's how they interpret it, right? Even in laughter, the heart may ache and end, and the end of joy. Let's see if it. And after the joy, grief. Yeah. Here's another version. This is what it said here. While laughter may relieve the tension of one suffering grief, it is only a temporary escape from the reality of a tragedy. Now that'll preach. While laughter may relieve the tension of one suffering grief, it is only a temporary escape from the reality of a tragedy. Wow. All right. That's good. That's real good. That's why I have multiple scriptures and multiple, because there's different ways to view things. So I'm loving this. What is it, 15? Here's 15. A naive person will believe anything, but a shrewd person discerns his steps. That's the truth. It says the contrast is with the simpleton and the shrewd. The simpleton is the young person who is untrained morally or intellectually and therefore is gullible. The shrewd one is the prudent person, the one who has the ability to make critical discriminations. Wow. I'm just curious about what this word means right here. What does gullible mean? My daughter called herself gullible. She said, I'm so gullible. I want to find out what that means. Maybe she already knew the meaning. Gullible. easily persuaded to believe something. Let's see what the Merriam-Webster. That's my go-to dictionary. Gullible. It means easily duped or cheated. So if you're gullible, you're easily duped or treated. What is duped? Now they're taking me down a rabbit hole. What is duped? Duping, dupes, archaic. Open? What does that mean? Oh, you have no protection. You have having no enclosing or confining barrier. Being in a position of adjustment to permanent passage. Wow, it's just you just open. So being a dupe person is a person who's just open to anything. Wow, that's deep. All right, so we got the general idea that if you're easily tricked and deceived, if you're gullible, whether intellectually or morally. The shrewd one is the prudent person, the one who has the ability to make critical discriminations. That's key. That's good. This other version says it like this. The prudent man looks before he leaps. That makes it easy. A wise person look before they leap. That's good. And we need to stop. Oh man, I got to tell you what I saw today. I saw something that we've been doing for a while, and I think that we need to really probably get somebody, if we don't do it ourselves. You know how you get ready to set up a program, you set up the program, and it has this section where it says, what? Here's our part of the deal. This is what we expected. Did you? And it's so long, it overwhelms it with words, and we just say agreed. I think if we really look and see what we agreed to, we would be amazed how much of our intellectual material we give away. We would be amazed at how much privileges that we've given to these people and advantages that we've given to these people just because we want their stuff. They want our information just as bad as we want their information. But they sell our information and we just get to use this, and then we can't do nothing about it. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone because, well, just because. Because I said enough. We need to be mindful. We shouldn't just sign these contracts. And I got that from the Proverbs. Look at where it's going to show up somewhere. But the naive person will believe anything. But the shrewd person discerns his steps. A wise person is cautious and turns from evil, but a fool throws off restraint and is overconfident. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like this. Here's a good thing. It says a wise person is cautious. I think some versions does translate it differently. Yeah, a wise man is cautious and turns away from evil. Okay, so they're about the same thing. But here's what it says here. I don't know why. What's the reference to it here? It says fears. A wise man fears. Is that what it's 16? Oh, cautious. So that word cautious is sometimes translated as fears. But it is cautious. And it means this. It probably does not mean here fear of the Lord, but of the consequences of your actions. So, I've been scared of the consequences of my actions sometimes. A wise person is cautious and fearful of the consequences of their actions and turns away from evil if they feel like it's going to be evil. But a fool throws off restraint. What does that mean, to throw off restraint? The fool passes over the bounds of propriety. They doing something that they know they ain't supposed to be. They going way beyond. They doing too much. Our modern time would say they cast off restraint. They doing too much. So they think they should just take liberties with you and they say crazy stuff to you. They're overly confident. They're boastful, right? They have this cocky self-assurance, overconfidence. Fools are not cautious and do not fear the consequences of their actions. I ain't scared of nothing. Overconfident. Cast off restraints. Taking too much liberties. But a person who is quick-tempered will do foolish things. This is super duper important for you to understand. A quick-tempered person. The proverb discusses two character traits that are distasteful to others. The quick-tempered person, short of anger, or the impatient, and the crafty person, man of devices. Wow. But a wise man endures others' words. The quick-tempered person acts foolishly and loses people's respect, but the wise man does not. Now listen. I need to say something to you hothead. You so quick to get in the fight, so quick to turn up in a not so good way. We need to stop. We need to be turning down instead of turning up and trying to keep the peace instead of trying to break up, break the peace or destroy peace. That's what it's trying to say to you. Chill out. Don't be such a hothead. I used to be a hothead. I used to be, and I'd be blow up, my veins be hurting. I just said, man, what am I doing? I'm killing myself. Why I gotta do this? If they don't see the value of it now, okay, later on they'll see it. But I don't have to be killing myself in the process trying to make a fool understand. A fool ain't gonna understand. It's not until they get delivered from their foolish ways. A person who is quick-tempered will do foolish things, rash things. Don't even think about it. And a person with crafty schemes will be hated. Now, I think this is very important for us to look at. A man of evil devices. That person is going to be hated rather than loved, rather than appreciated. Because a man of thoughtfulness endures. But a crafty schemer, a con artist, man, there are some. They even come in con churches. Whole churches get conned. I've seen whole churches get conned by one man with a crafty scheme. A crafty scheme. They would run the ring around the righteous, and that's usually a lot of times that's exactly what the evil do. They run rings around the righteous because we ain't got sense enough to study. We too busy praying instead of trying to protect and learn what we need to learn. Sometimes we need to get off our knees and stop praying and start practicing. What thus saith the Lord. The naive have inherited folly. That's their reward. Naivete has a reward. It is ignorance. It's folly. Yeah. I'm not going to read that to you. Bad people have bowed before good people. Bad people have bowed before good people, and wicked people have bowed at the gate of someone's righteousness. Bad people have bowed before good people, and wicked people have bowed. And wicked people have bowed at the gates of someone righteous. All right, here's bad people. All right, now that's kind of a murky translation. This one says the evil will bow down to the good. I think I read something about this somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Here, I did find something. I did find this. Whoever oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker. No, I'm going to read this. 14. That's too far down. I'm still at 19. Bow down at the gates. In this instance, gates refer to the household gates of the righteous, not the city gates. Compare the obeisance of the king's servant at the king's gate. That's different. In this sense, therefore, the parallelism of the verse indicates that the evildoers will be forced to show subservience to the righteous, becoming their servant. A similar case in which due respect is granted by those who had previously taken no notice of their new masters is found in Moses' diction. All right. The idea is this, that if evil people continue in their evil ways, they're going to end up in ruin and become the employees of the righteous who continue in their righteous ways and gain wealth and influence and build and makes jobs. So it's saying that, you might be flossing now, but you better watch out. If you getting it by dirty and scheming means, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up being employed by me or in somebody's prison. That's a lot. That's a lot. So that's good stuff, 19. Now, I didn't understand it here, but I got a little bit of understanding when I read this. That's why I use different text. Which one is this one? Did I already tell you about this one? Oh, no, I didn't tell you about this text. Let me show you this one. This one is NIV Cultural Background Study Bible. NIV Cultural Background Study Bible. This is a cold piece of work right here. This was given to me by Reverend Andy Bales. He is the executive director of the Union Rescue Mission. Famous. He's a staunch supporter, an advocate for homeless rights and privileges. He gave this to me at the launch of the church that we started in DTLA. But I tell him, I call him up all the time and thank him for giving me this Bible because it's good. It gives you cultural backgrounds. Like I couldn't understand that verse until I read this, and I said, oh, I get it now. I understand what it means. I hope you got a little bit of understanding too. I guess I'm not going to do Facebook tonight because I'm getting into this and I'm loving it. And shoot, let me try to close this up real quick, and then I'll do a little bit of the other one. I'll do a very quick version of Facebook. So you who are YouTube, y'all getting the good stuff. We were at 19, and then we're going to go down to, what happened to my music? That's what's happening. I'm slowing up because I don't have my music. What is really going on here? And sometimes I burn my incense too. I just get into it. It's just me and the Lord. And me, you, and the Lord today. I'm thinking about you as I'm doing this. Now, verse 20 takes it a little different approach. A poor person will be disliked even by his neighbors, but those who love the rich are many. A poor person will be disliked by even his neighbors. So you know that it says that this is just a statement of fact. Love and hate must be seen in their connotations. The poor are rejected, avoided, shunned. That is hated. But the rich are sought after, favored, embraced. That is loved. Now that's so helpful. That's one of the most helpful things I read about this particular thing. A poor person is disliked even by his neighbors. But those who love the rich are many. Yeah, a whole lot of people love rich people. Ask Oprah. I know she knows. There's so many people love her. I love Oprah too. I ain't got no shame in my game for my love for Sister Oprah. I love that sister. fact, when we were when we were all both younger, she was in Baltimore, and we were in Baltimore at the same time. She was on this television station, and I was selling bean pies, and with the Muslims, and she wanted to come and get her a bean pie. I don't know if she's still a fan of bean pies, but I know she used to eat them when she was in Baltimore. I sold her one, in fact. Many are the friends of the rich. The parables of the verb, love can mean a friend. All right, cool. Now, so that was deep, right? And here's the thing. When we practice the principles of wisdom, poverty cannot stay around us. Poverty, we will be driven away by our wise decisions. Can I get an amen? Amen. I am so glad that I am studying this book of Proverbs and getting this wisdom so I can start getting me some wealth up in here. I can start making wise decisions. I can start understanding how the world really works instead of believing what the man told me to believe. You can fill in the blank for what the man is, who the man is. Or what man told me to believe. All right. Got to be equal opportunity. The one who despises his neighbor's sins. But whoever is kind to the needy is blessed. So this helps you to understand. That one showed you about what it is. It's just a statement of life. All right. Nobody want to be around any poor people. I know. Because I've been poor. And they ain't want to be around me. They didn't invite me to their things. Because I'm been poor. I ain't poor no more. Not in spirit. For sure. Sound like one of my friends, Michael, would be making these rhymes, these corny rhymes. No, the one who despises his neighbor sins, misses the mark of love. If you hate your neighbor, you're out of order. But whoever is kind to the needy is blessed. Take care of the needy. Take care of those people around you. I think that's a pretty easy one. I don't think anybody's having any difficulty understanding that. Is that right? Maybe I should read it in 21. Let's see what it says. 21. It is a sin to despise one's neighbor, but blessed is the one who is kind to the needy. Oh, that's good. Somebody who's kind to the needy. Is kind to the needy. Recently, because I'm back working downtown, I walk outside where I'm working at, so I have to walk through these homeless encampments, right? So I know every now and then when I'm walking through, somebody's like, "Hey, blah, 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 you got a dollar, you got a quarter, you got something," and I feel so bad saying no. I might have $50, a $50 bill, but I ain't breaking it in this situation. I'll be vulnerable. I'll be a fool if I go break that $50 bill trying to give somebody a dollar. And I also would be foolish if I gave them the $50 bill. That's not being kind to. What do you mean that's not being kind to? Because I know this person is asking this money because they need to get that fixed, and I can see the situation. It's not always like that, but when God gives us discernment, we can see. So what I've been doing lately, I just been like, if I break a $5, I just put that in my pocket, so that if somebody asks, I'll have something to give, and that's what happened today. Boom. I'm not telling you that because I want to get any kudos for that. That's already taken care of. But I do unto others. God blesses me. He puts that in my storehouse, in my blessing. So you do some good too. But I'm saying that just to give you some ideas about how you could, in fact, be a blessing to people, and that you can be deliberate about it, like I was with me having that money in my pocket. (22) Does those who devise evil go astray? But those who plan good exhibit faithful covenant love. Do not those who devise evil go astray? I read that wrong. But those who plan good exhibit faithful covenant love. Yeah. Faithful covenant love. That's what marriage is. Faithful covenant love. loyal love and truth, faithful love, or better, faithful love, covenant love. Yes, it's the bomb. Because you want to keep your covenant. You might fall in and out of love, but you ain't gonna give up a covenant too easily. He who finds a wife finds a good thing to obtain favor from the Lord, because they make a covenant before God, and he loves to bless male and female units. God loves to bless male and female units. He created them that way. It works really good, especially in intercourse. They just fit together. It's just a wonderful thing. And then know, and you know that God loves it so much, because am I saying God loves sex? I think I am. I think He created it. I think God, and I'm not talking about he or she, remember, it's a spirit. God is a spirit. But the entity created that thing, because in that act of love making, that physical act of love making, because we can actually make love to a person's emotions or intellect. In fact, my wife taught me that you can actually have an affair and you never have sex with the person. You you have an entanglement, an affair in your emotions. All right, so that can happen too. But this is saying that what was I getting at? Covenant love. I was saying about that. So when you have covenant love, even when the infatuation of being in love dwindles, and it's natural, it's actually a phenomenon. 1 to 3 years it takes for that infatuation to go down. If you still saying that you infatuated, you must got a new person, or a very rare individual. But then covenant love kicks in and says, I made a covenant that I'm gonna cuff with you. I'm gonna stay with you. We're gonna build together. Remember, this thing started about building. I know why the music keep going out, because my battery is dead on the speaker. Who was that? Do not those who devise evil go astray, but those who plan good exhibit faithful covenant love. There is a plan that's evil, and there's a plan that's good. Choose you this day which plan you make. In all hard work there's profit, but merely talking about it only brings poverty. I told you this was coming. I told you I saw this. I heard this coming down the street. The point here is that people should be more afraid of idle talk than of hard labor. Maybe people are afraid of hard labor. I never even thought about that. Hard work, there's profit. But if you're afraid of hard work, you should be more afraid of what poverty brings. You should be more afraid of talking about it and not doing about it. Because all hard work, there's profit. If you put hard work in, you're going to get a profit out of it, some kind of profit. But merely talking about it brings only poverty. It brings only poverty. Brings only poverty. All right, we're almost there. I'm gonna hurry up. I'm gonna push it faster. And remember, I said you could break these up, do half-hour segments, 20-minute segments, do whatever you want to do with it. I'm going to cut it up probably later on and use it later too. A king's glory is the abundance of people, but the lack of subjects is the ruin of a ruler. A king's glory is the abundance of people, but the lack of subjects is the ruin of a ruler. Now that makes sense, right? Doesn't it make sense to you? If you have a kingdom and you got a lot of people in it, and so that, it's abundance. Great things are happening. You bring in a fiery word, or something's going on. You're a good, benevolent king, and you providing good services to your people, and so you got a lot of people. But if you turn wicked in the process, and you start losing your people, and begin to lack subjects, it's going to turn to ruin. It's going to be the ruin of a ruler. So you want to do whatever it is. If you a king, you're gonna have to be good and kind and loving. So there's some things that are happening, some transitions going on, right? And uh and you could say Ichabod. The glory is gone. Yeah, you were the king and you were the stuff, and back in that day, everybody was coming to you, but now there's so much room between people, it might be better for you to just close up shop, or at least use some of it for something else. You don't need all that much room anymore. The glory's gone. I don't know who that's for, but I'm gonna leave it real quick. I feel like I'm meddling. Someone with great understanding is slow to anger. Someone with great understanding is slow to anger, but the one who is quick-tempered exalts folly. We just had something about quick-tempered before. So here it is again. So we need to make sure quick-tempered. For all my quick-tempered people, y'all better get something, get this wisdom, because someone with great understanding, people, if you got wisdom, you're gonna be slow to anger. You're not gonna be in a hurry to get mad. Yes. Be slow to anger, but the one who is quick to get always quick to be in a fight. It said you exalt folly. You make folly look good, or you might be really putting to shame to folly, but folly's intended to be crazy. But it says one who is quick tempered or short fused will be evident to everyone due to his rash actions. Just fire him. And you need that. You need that person in your staff, but you're gonna fire them because you just quick and you angry because they told you the truth and you mad. A tranquil spirit. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, y'all. A tranquil spirit reveals the body, and that's not in the afternoon. A tranquil spirit revives the body, but envy is the rottenness to the bones. A tranquil spirit revives the body. If you have peaceful spirit, that's why you want to have peace and love. You want to have calmness. You want to have a heart of healing. You want to be in a place where you can receive the goodness of the Lord. You want to have calmness and gentleness, right? A healthy spirit is tranquil, bringing peace to the body. A tranquil spirit revives the body, but a rottenness to the bones. The one who oppresses the poor has insulted the Creator. The one who oppresses the poor has insulted the Creator. You treating the poor as though they are not created in the image of God. One who oppresses the poor. To slander the poor, to talk negatively about the poor, to lie about the poor. One who oppresses the poor has insulted the poor's Creator. Shows contempt for the poor's Creator. By oppressing the poor, one taunts and mistreats God because that person is in the image of God. Hence the reference to his or her maker or creator. To ridicule what God made is to ridicule God himself. Now, if that ain't a word right there, if we could just get that in the body, we gonna be all right. If we can see that what we do to others, even though they might not have the clout or the status or the reputation like you, it's gonna come back. It's not gonna be good if you don't do right. Because then God says that you're mistreating him if you're mistreating others, especially the poor. That's a bad deal. Because God fights for the poor. He stands guard over them. He protects them. He provides for them, even in their poverty, until they get some wisdom to get some strength to be out of the situations. But whoever honors him shows favor to the needy. Whoever honors God, you show favor to the needy. So what is that saying? While being oppressed, contrast showing favor, to have insulted, contrast honoring. Okay, that's so it's giving you the parallelism. Oppress, contrast showing favor. The oppressor and showing favor are two different types. All right. To have insult, contrast with honoring the Creator. Good. The proverb may also make its contrast by switching which element is the subject and which is verbal. In the first half, the oppressor occurs first. The second half begins with, okay, that's just talking about how it's structured. We don't want to talk about the structure. We want to make sure you got the idea, the main point. So we got the main point. You don't need all that grammatical stuff. That's too much. An evil person will be thrown down through his wickedness. All right. Once again, the evil, but the righteous person takes refuge in his integrity. You know that. And that's a cool part. The righteous person takes refuge in his integrity. I'm not sure if the evil person will be thrown down through his wickedness. Yeah. I'm not an evil person, so I don't necessarily know how they get thrown down. Let me see if anybody talked about that. 32. Who's that? 32. Let's see. Nobody talked about that. Oh, yeah, they did. The righteous put their confidence in God, believing death to be a place. I'm not that far. No, 31. I looked at the wrong one. 31. That didn't sound right. Did anybody talk about it? 31. No. No one mentioned about that. So we're going to leave 31 alone, and we're going to keep going. An evil person will be thrown down through his wickedness, but the righteous person takes refuge in his integrity. Yes, that's good. Wisdom rests in the heart of the discerning. It is not known in the inner parts of the fool. Wisdom rests in the heart of the discerning, but wisdom is not known in the inner parts of a fool. I think that's what that means. 33. Oh, this version reads 32 like this. The righteous put their confidence in God, believing death to be the place of refuge and immortality. Yeah. Now I remember what the Lord was telling me about this. So look, this idea is a wise person doesn't see death as the end of life. Wisdom rests the heart in the discerning. It is not known in the inner parts of the fool. Where is that at? Where is that at? 33. Wisdom rests in the heart of the discerning. Yes. Wisdom rests in the heart of the discerning. 33. Wisdom rests in the heart of the discerning. Yes. While the wise man does not parade his knowledge, fools boast of the little he has. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Righteousness exalts a nation. 34. Righteousness exalts a nation. Did anybody talk about that? 34. Righteousness exalts a nation. I think someone did. 1434. What was this one? No, I don't see it. But the idea is that wisdom, righteousness exalts a nation. Let's see. The upright dealings. Okay, here it is. Here it was written here. Here, the upright dealings of the leaders and the people will lift up the people. The upright dealings of the leaders and the people will lift up the people. The people will be encouraged because they see righteousness is prevailing. The people will be encouraged because they see good things happening, right? And so they start being encouraged. But the people's condition in the nation will be raised. The people's condition in that nation will be raised. If everybody start doing good toward one another and treating each other righteous and have righteous deals instead of trying to scam and scheme and all that kind of stuff, then our nation would reflect goodness and niceness. It will be exalted. It'll lift our nation up. But sin is a disgrace to any people. Yes, sin is a disgrace to any people. Even the kindness of some nations is a sin because they do it only to show off. Wow. 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 Even the kindness of some nations is a sin. Wow. Anyway. Okay. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin disgraces the people. The king shows favor to the wise servant, but the wrath falls on the one who acts shamefully. That's easy. And God being a king, he shows favor to the wise. He blesses their ideas. He meets them on the road. He carries them down the street. He takes care of them. He lifts them up when they fall. But the wrath falls on the one who acts shamefully. Yeah, you want to embarrass, you want to act shamefully, you want to act like God doesn't exist, and mistreat people and all that kind of stuff. Well, every action has a direct reaction. I think that's what it says. Every action has a direct reaction. So if you're doing good, good comes back to you. I'm tired. I don't know what I'm going to give Facebook. I'm going to give a little bit before I go. But I want you to keep your hands clean and your heart pure. You can't go wrong with that. This is Pastor Omar, Preacher Omar. I did a lot of preaching today. Pastor Omar, Preacher Omar. I wasn't much of an uncle today, but I hope it was a blessing to you. Peace and blessings. I'm out.